Hi, this is Rivki.
And this is Alex.
And this is a mini DMC.
Powered by Meaningful Minute.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about something that's been in the magazines a lot and just discussed a lot recently. I don't know if you've seen this, but social media. Mm-hmm. We talked about it in episode 1, in season 1. Mm-hmm. And we thought it'd be a great opportunity to do like a little mini discussion on. And I know that social media has changed so much since when it first came out like a million years ago and we were first using it. And now the relationship I have with it is so different. And I'm excited to dive in to this topic of conversation.
You mentioned the magazines. Could you sort of like tell us, recap, like what's the debate that you're sort of seeing around social media?
Okay, sure. It's not. I don't understand. It's even a debate at this point. It's just a lot of angry letters. But there was an open mic piece in Mishpacha about which I don't even remember the entire contents, but it was talking about WhatsApp.
Right.
And then there's this whole like outpouring of people who are really, really, really against any social media and like, you know, and like that strong position of like no, but then at the same time like. I've been reached out. Other people have reached out to me who are on social media, like about how do we navigate it. Mm-hmm. And then there's this amazing new initiative that linked up by Feige Zelser, and just there's so much to say on this topic, and it's not black and white. And it's like as I've seen like all these letters coming in that are like anti the Gedolim say, you know, and it's like okay, but you know, there's like this. I don't even know if I want to say it on the episode, the suggestion that like, you know, if you're on it at all, then you must not be Yari Shemayim. And that really, I take issue with that. Yeah. I think it's not so black and white, but I think that there is a lot of merit. Like I also respect people who are completely off it. So it's like, I have a lot of feelings.
Yeah. And I'm also like, I respect people who are off it. I also envy people who are off it to a certain extent because I see what the challenges are.
Yeah.
But I also acknowledge that it's here. So many of us are on it, and the conversation needs to be for those of us who are on it. How do we use this properly, and how do we use this in a healthy way?
Right.
So I think that's sort of hopefully part of this discussion today.
And as always, please talk to your local Orthodox rabbi about your own decisions. Do not rely on us.
Right,
but we want to have a conversation.
Yeah, and obviously we're both very entrenched in social media. I mean, our podcast is advertised on social media. Yeah. It's, you know, both of us, I think, professionally use social media as well.
And remember, WhatsApp is social media.
And that's right. And that is actually really important because it's like, oh, I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram. But wait, do you have WhatsApp? It's still social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, even texting is considered social media.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Meaning you are connecting socially with someone via a device. Technology.
I guess, is that the definition of social media even? Because I was thinking like
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't know. I thought I had seen that, but certainly WhatsApp I know.
Because it's statuses.
Right. It is WhatsApp for sure. Okay, so maybe we'll leave texting aside.
All right. Yeah. Anyways, but I think we wanted to start with like what are the good? What is the good that we have seen in our lives that we've seen other people do? How have we seen social media like be for the good?
Yeah. How does it benefit us?
It's very short today.
Okay, so for me, I certainly have increased my friendship circles through social media. There is no question. When I say social media, I'll be very specific, mainly through Facebook. Mm-hmm. I probably got on Facebook maybe like 6-7 years ago. And I have really developed real friendships with people, so much so that I have met up with these people. We communicate regularly. And I'll tell you with these friendships why they're unique is often the friendships that you will make on social media are because you are maybe associated with a similar cause. You may be in a private group together. And so it's not like, we have friends because for whatever reasons when we meet people physically, but like when you are connecting with someone via the exchange of ideas, it's a different type of friendship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like these are people who will reach out to me when they have questions or they're dealing with something that we've dealt with together with whatever initiative or whatever conversations we'd be having. Yeah. So we know like those are, and I'll have WhatsApp chats with a few of them. So these are those go-to people that we know are like-minded or are having similar struggles about whatever it is. And it's a very unique type of relationship. And normally in real life, I don't think you necessarily, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. Do you think that you find people based on more of an exchange of ideas? Like in real life, you're friends because you maybe live in the same neighborhood. I don't know.
It's
interesting.
It's a good question. It's definitely, I mean, that's a really good question.
It's just more pronounced, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
obviously, I have certain friends locally where I'm like, this is my go-to for this, and this is we're similar this way. But this is just more, I don't know, it's a unique type of friendship. I really value that.
And I think that you do have such a broad network. I remember when we first started the podcast a million years ago, I was just in such
million
awe.
years ago, Rivki.
A million years ago. Exactly. That's not hyperbole. I was just
2020 with everyone else who started their podcast.
Okay,
We'll just put that out there.
Some people started in 2021.
Right.
Or 2022.
Yeah.
What's it called? I was just really impressed with like the breadth and depth of your network. Like really have a beautiful network.
I appreciate that. And that actually leads into the second piece, which I very much value and incredibly appreciative of is the opportunity for me just professionally to build a network via social media.
Yeah.
Both of us, as you all know, are writers. And yeah, there's an algorithm thing that lately when you share, I don't know, the last year or two, is some the Mr. Algorithm who controls social media has not made it a friendly place for those of us who like sharing our articles.
Yeah.
I don't really know how that works, but
me neither.
Essentially they I don't know, it's hard to get access. It's hard to get it in front of people when you're sharing an article versus like a product. Maybe that can be sold.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Maybe if we had paid to do it. I remember a million years ago, I obviously have a thing with hyperbole. I remember when I
think you're just feeling old today.
That's also possible. I was trying to promote my blog on Facebook many years ago through the Pages, when the Pages feature first came out. And I noticed that unless I paid, things just got buried.
That's right.
And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not paying you.
That's right.
Like I'm not getting paid for this work, so I'm not paying you. It's like whatever. Right. If it was a business or a product, maybe it's different. But like I'm not paying for my ideas to be put out there. Like that, I just had a objection to that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Now we could, if we saw this as our business and wanted to build it, but I have never paid as well, especially for an article. Like it just
I did a couple of times.
You have?
Just to experiment. It wasn't worth it.
Right, it's not right.
It wasn't worth it.
But bottom line is, certainly when I started writing, things were different in terms of the algorithm. Things were shared more. And maybe people like them articles more than I don't even know what it is. I mean, that could be too. But bottom line is it gets your words out there. Yes, if you're in print, that's awesome. Everyone's reading in print. But like then to have this social media network where you're sharing your pieces is incredibly valuable. And what's also valuable is not just that I'm getting my words read more widely. It's just you're creating a brand for yourself as a professional. So that has led for me to, various speaking opportunities and other professional, growth opportunities that this is where I've created sort of my niche in the Orthodox world versus if you're just in your local place and nobody knows about you. When you are doing Orthodox communal work or public speaking, like you want people to know about you, and that's how they know about you is through social media. Where else?
Right. Oh well.
Besides word of mouth and things like that. But it's a very helpful tool.
It is, and it's nice that when someone says, "Oh, what about so and so? Do you want to bring her in to speak?" Then there is like existing like evidence of what your style is, what your type is, what your opinions are.
It's like a resume online.
It is 100% is, and then they can see like if this is oh yeah, this person's a fit, this person's not a fit, whatever. Exactly.
So that, and two more things I just wanted to share is specifically social media initiatives. Listen, I'm a teacher. I had degrees in education. The last thing I ever thought I'd be doing was like social media work. And that is really the work that I'm in at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm also not like 30 years old. I won't say how old I am, but it's also not a generational fit necessarily for me.
I hear, yeah.
But here I am. And last summer, I was involved in a response to My Unorthodox Life, which was on Netflix. I'm not going to go into the whole thing.
Yeah.
But that was literally just an Instagram post that I did share with an influencer who did get on board. And that was, how can we, as From Women, not take this as an opportunity to feel bad about ourselves when the media and Netflix is saying things about us as a collective whole, as Orthodox From Women, that is very negative.
Yeah, and painful.
But how can we possibly use this as an opportunity for growth and inspiration?
And to be mechazik ourselves.
Exactly. Like, let's remind ourselves why we are proud to be Orthodox women and what it is. And even if you have struggles with it, you can share that too. But let's take ownership of it.
And I love how you did it in your post when you're like, I'm not perfect. Our community is not perfect. There are issues that for sure we need to address and change. And B'ezras Hashem we will. But there is so much to appreciate, and it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget all of the good that there is.
That's
and
right. And listen, on social media, remembering the good, there's like a thing about that because it's like, oh, that's toxic positivity, and oh, you're not being a critical thinker or not. There's a lot of cynicism around positivity on social media, which can be very toxic.
Well, and I think also, I remember Rev Gav had said that we're like 7 times more likely or 6 times more likely to focus on the negative.
Yeah, it's also a natural thing.
And it gets
it's
more
like
clicks. It gets more clicks.
That's right. And the social media understands that psychology about us and is using that to our anyway. So essentially just, I did this hashtag my Orthodox life with a post, and there was such a need. The time was right. That's how things go viral when there's a situation where the women were frustrated and they needed to express that and have a platform, and social media became their platform. And if you look at the hashtag my Orthodox life on Instagram, you'll see thousands and thousands of posts of women from all over the world, all stripes of Orthodoxy, who contributed. So I look back at that and I say, like, that, yes, we use it for good. That was a tool. Yeah. We utilized this tool of social media to build awareness. There were articles all over the press, secular and Jewish media, about mentioning what we did, and
it was interesting.
That gives me chizuk.
It does, and I think it was also interesting because even for those who had a less positive and a more visceral reaction to it,
to what,
like to the hashtag, who maybe were feeling more discontent or who had more, like, it also prompted conversations in those, like, it prompted conversations like all around, which is something that I really found fascinating.
Well, there was a professor actually. She studies Orthodoxy. Her name is Jessica Rhodes, and she wrote a piece about my Orthodox life, the movement, how from an academic perspective, how it, exactly what you said, it prompted conversations about gender, about Orthodoxy in all of our circles. So I'm grateful, and that ultimately, and I'll just wrap up with this, led to the project that I'm working on now, and it's a great plug. Check it out on Instagram and Facebook. That's also on my Alexandra Fluxher LinkedIn page, Faces of Orthodoxy, which is, how is it that we can tell our stories? How can we put a humane face to us as Orthodox Jews when our stories in terms of, on a global level, are being told to Netflix and told to the media by those who have left? Well, we need to show the world who we are. So we profile regular, ordinary Orthodox Jews from all over with beautiful photography, and they share their life story.
It's a beautiful initiative.
It just
really
shows
is.
Like, we're all real people, and we have Jews and non-Jews and many non-religious Jews who follow, who want to hear and want to learn about us, and just, it's not curated, it's just regular people sharing their lives. So that's the goal, and I'm proud of that too, because I feel like I'm not selling anything. Well, it's no problem to sell, but my point is that this is not a for-profit thing. This is using social media to storytell, and to hopefully make a Kiddush Hashem.
Well, that's Hashem, and it really is beautiful, the stories that you're telling of people who, like, you would never. One of the things that I thought was so interesting is, like, a lot of times, like, the regular people, the regular stories are, like, not ones that are ever, like, really going to be made into, like, any sort of, like, series, because, like, it's like regular, what's there to tell, like, stories and movies, they need drama, that's what they need. And so one of the things that I love about the Faces of Orthodoxy that is, it's so beautiful, is that, like, now we have, like, it's like a smorgasbord of, like, all these, like, quote unquote regular people who are really exceptional,
right?
And, like, then it exists on social media so that people can say, oh, but look at this, like, this is something that this is not like in a response to anything, but it just exists, that if anyone wants to learn a little bit more about the diversity of the Orthodox world, it exists there now, and people can just go look, and you can point at it, and you can say, like, oh, but look at this, this is also our world, like, that it should be, the beautiful parts should be available for everyone to see, because otherwise, like, and that's one of the things that I like about social media, I'm going to kind of seg into this, is that one of the things that it can do is it can broaden the world so that you can be exposed to people and thoughts and different perspectives that you never would interact with in, like, your Dalet Amos, and that you really wouldn't. So, like, someone who lives way out somewhere who never would meet an Orthodox Jew can now see, like, oh, this is also what it is,
And break stereotypes. If you thought, oh, well, but because that's exactly what stereotypes is. You don't have a window into people's personal lives. You've never met somebody. So if you can actually learn about them and read about them and see what they look like, it's a very, very powerful tool.
Right. And I think that it's funny, as I was saying, like, you can meet people and like hear different ideas. Like that's also one of the challenges of social media, to be honest.
Very true.
And just exposure to other people's challenges, that what people are going through or what they choose to show and to share with the world it's just nice. Like I definitely found myself like having like different perspectives.
More sympathy for people too.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, exactly. And one of the main benefits that I really found was I feel like it can really diminish feelings of being alone and really validate certain struggles. Like, if a person sometimes it just feels much safer to, and if maybe people have an anonymous accounts, I don't even know, but sometimes it feels safer to post something like through a screen than it does to have a face-to-face conversation with someone. It feels like less vulnerable, even though, as we talked about in our interview with Sharon Lincoln Sheps, in that episode, you have to make sure it's a safe space. It's not always a safe space online. But
are you talking about non-anonymous?
I'm talking about if someone has a Facebook account with like a small number of people and they want to, and they're sharing a struggle that they're going through, and then someone else says, "Oh, I'm having the same struggle." Or someone reads an article and sees an article about someone going through something. Maybe it's a mental health crisis. Maybe it's a pregnancy loss crisis. Like all of these things that people can suffer so many times alone. And then all of a sudden through groups and through networking with people in social media. So then it can create a feeling of, oh, I'm not abnormal for having this struggle. This is a normal struggle and I'm not alone and I can get support. Like there's a lot of really beautiful groups that have been formed online where people can share ideas if they're having struggles with like parenting their children. Maybe they're having children who are having a really hard time and they don't know what to do. And they are maybe too embarrassed to go in their community to ask, but then they can, talk to other people and connect with experts and just like get that chizuk that maybe they're not able to get otherwise. So I feel like that is also a very beautiful thing. There's like tons of shidduchim groups.
Right. A lot of good that's done.
There really is a lot of potential. And like everything has potential for good and then potential for bad. And so it's like, I definitely find that there's a lot of potential for good in social media. If we're aware of the pitfalls that come with it, then we can really tap into the good that does exist, and seeing other people's struggles and their challenges and their lives can 100% arouse empathy and sympathy. And it can just also like make you, the next time you're at a simcha or whatever, be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that one comment about, where's your kid going to yeshiva or whatever. I mean, this is something that I try to also accomplish in my writing, increased sensitivity for the struggles of others, not to make yourself, like so thinking about it all the time that you literally never open your mouth because you're afraid you're going to be offending someone, but just to have in mind that these are struggles that exist in the world and maybe I should be thoughtful to it.
So true. Like you say that. I mean, there are people that are local that I may not be friends with, but we're quote unquote friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
But what I've learned more about their lives. So yes, if I see them, I know. Now, is that a good thing that I know about their lives? It just depends how much they want to share. But if I do know that XYZ is having a problem with this child or this issue in their parenting, I will be more sensitive because I know that's something that they're going through.
It's so funny because my initial thought is like, oh my gosh, but don't post that on Facebook.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, it's so... Rivki, you're right. I mean, it's so hard to know. Some people will, but in a certain way that feels right and not too vulnerable and not oversharing. It could go either way.
Everyone has different sensitivities, and everyone is like, I feel like this is like such an important point is that we all have a relationship with social media, those of us who are on it, and it will like go up and down. I remember
sometimes we'll be better than doing things in other times.
Or sometimes we'll decide like, oh, this is a boundary that I want to set for myself now, or whatever. Yeah. I remember many years ago when my oldest daughter was a toddler, there was a whole movement of people who were like, I'm not posting my kids' pictures online at all. And like a whole thing for, for the privacy of the children, which is like, an opinion that I respect. I also like seeing my kids, like my friends' kids online. So like, whatever, you can do either way, whatever works for you. But at that moment, I was like, I deleted all my kids' pictures off of my Facebook account. This is many years ago, like 8-9 years ago. And then right after I did that, my hard drive crashed my computer and I lost all the baby pictures of my daughter. And I had taken them off the internet. And I was like, why did I take them off social media? Funny. I would have had them. It's okay. I was able to retrieve some of them, but it was such a gut punch. So, and just staying in touch with friends. Like I had mentioned in my little intro, when I first got on Facebook, which must have been like in 2007, I want to say, Like, it was mainly to keep in touch with my friends from seminary and some of my friends from high school and college, and to see what they were up to in their life. It was such a different world. It was basically just like a place where we posted pictures of our kids and we shared like little happy milestones. And it was not like this juggernaut of advertising and news. And
so you're saying
like,
it has changed.
Oh my God, it has changed platform. So much. Right. And like, I feel like,
but we're sort of moving along with it and adapting and still staying on it.
Right, exactly. Right. You know, it's not what it was. And when I first went on, it was really to stay in touch with friends and to meet new people. And it's a very different thing right now. And I want to. Let's talk about the challenges. Can we move on to the challenges? I'm like in a real space of like having real conflicted emotions about it. I have to say right now, because of all the letters that have been coming on, have really, even though I don't always agree with the message of the letters, you know, I don't like, you know, it's never fun to feel like you're being judged by someone else in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, even though I don't always like how I feel after I read these letters saying that, like, you know, no one should be on it at all ever. Right. At the same time, it does give me pause about like, what is it doing to me? How is it affecting my life? Like, and like I said, when I joined it, it was to stay in touch with friends, and it was to like share happy moments and connect in that way. And it's not that anymore for me. You know, it's really, really not. And I feel like we say all the time, like, social media is not real life. And like, when someone is sharing a struggle or sharing a problem, you're getting the smallest, tiniest portion of what they're choosing to share. And there's so much that we don't know. I've seen like sometimes people who I've known posting online about a situation that I also know about. And I know that like the thing that like all of the responses that they're getting, all of that thing are like not nogea to the situation, because there's so much that the people online don't know. So they're getting all this advice, which I'm like, well, that's good. That's okay.
Like, it's not relevant advice. They don't know the whole picture.
Or it's like,
or bad advice, maybe.
Yeah. I'm watching it with trepidation. I'm like, ooh. Right? So like,
and also, how do you choose? Like, normally in real life, do you ask 500 people for advice about something?
Right.
And like, let's say you get 50 responses. Now you have to sift through that. It's also not necessarily helpful to get so many people's opinions on something that's a personal matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely, but at the same time, I so understand and validate
the want to get it out there.
The want to get it out there, the need to share.
Getting it off your chest.
And the desire for validation. So, you know, but it gives me...
You have to check your motives, though, because at the end of the day, the more and more you do that, it may feel good immediately, but you may realize this is not the best way for me to get this off my chest. Maybe I do need to speak to a close friend or speak to a professional. Right. Because I think people experiment a lot on social media. They try this. It feels good to type it out and press enter and get the responses. Yeah. And then if it starts feeling yucky, then I just see how I've adapted on social media. I remember I used to use it really as a conversation tool more. We'd have great conversations. Yeah. Because I loved it for a time. Now I don't do that at all. I don't have the interest for whatever reason. Maybe I don't want to spend so much time on it. So I use it solely as a way to promote whatever work I'm doing as a professional.
Similar.
But it's just things evolve. That's what I found.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like, you know, I moved over to Instagram much more than Facebook. One of the things I like about Instagram is like through stories or whatever, I'm having a lot more one-on-one conversations with people. So it's not like I post something and then there's like a gazillion responses.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, it's much more intimate for me.
Because they can direct message you.
Yeah, because it's basically through DMs. Like, I'm not having conversations in the comment section
it's a different
of
platform.
Instagram. I'm just like, so I like it better. I like it better in that way, but I know a lot of people really, really don't like Instagram for many reasons. And I validate that too. So one of the things that I find is the biggest challenge for me on social media is just that there's so many bad Mitos opportunities. Okay?
Well said.
BMO. BMO. You hear it here on DMC. Like, I made a joke once. I think I tweeted it actually. After I've taken Twitter off my phone actually right now. I take it on, I put it off. Whatever, I put it on, I take it off. I'm constantly
like love-hate relationships with all these platforms.
Exactly.
And that's why I envy people who don't have to deal with this.
Right. Exactly. Learn from us. Let us be a cautionary tale.
Exactly.
No, because I was thinking, like, you know, it's like, how did I say it? Facebook is like, you know, Instagram is Princess, and Facebook is Kfira, and Twitter is like, you know, Onus Devarim. You know what I mean? Because these platforms have a tendency to
bring out the worst.
Yeah, and I saw Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg had just posted something about how there was someone who had disagreed with him on something and had like, you know, posted something about him on social media, which was what I gathered from the post was like not so ehrlich, not so mitos togos, right? And then the person actually had sent him a private message saying that he took it down and he was rethinking his whole relationship with social media and like he was taking a break because he didn't like the way that he reacted. And Rabbi Goldberg posted this with permission, of course. And I thought like that right there, like instant tshuva, first of all, very impressive that a person would take the time to say, I made a mistake, I made a public mistake, and I'm going to apologize and I'm going to like that is very impressive that the person did that. And I feel like it's so easy when we have strong feelings and it's, you know, social media also brings out strong feelings, you know, to just like react. Like I can't tell you how many times I've written an article and someone's posted it online and then someone in the comments has written something and I'm like, you do remember that people who write articles are people too. Like we have feelings, you know, like, but it's like, it's just like this, you don't, there's a great possibility to dehumanize other people on social media. So and I feel like that's something that we need to be very aware of. So do you want to talk about some challenges or do you want me to talk about really quickly about how I manage?
Yeah, let's hear.
Okay. So I was cracking up because on our mini DMC about Shabbos, I had mentioned about how I had this thing on my phone where all my apps are shut off for a certain period of time. And then I talked about how I always just like click the notification and I dismiss it. Right. So after I did that, I was like, no, I'm going to start doing it again. And I actually started doing it again. My phone is shut from 5 to 7 and I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like putting it away. Like, I don't want to do it. I just need like the headspace and I need to be like not on it. And then just like as like all the things that we've talked about before, like, you know, be careful who you follow, like unfollow people who are not serving you. Like, you know, if they're bringing up a lot of feelings or whatever, you don't want to deal with it. Like just unfollow people who are agitating, curate your feed so that what is coming through your social media feed is what you want.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Whatever that is, like have a goal, have an intention. Like what is this supposed to be accomplishing in my life? Like, you know, like, do I want to have like lots of funny things and like laugh all the time and have it as a way to relax and like read funny things? Or do I want it to be thought provoking? Do I want it to be inspiring? Right. Do I want to just connect with my close friends? Like what is it supposed to be serving? And then curate, I can't say this word, curate your feed so that that's what it does.
And some people I do want to acknowledge do love the exchange of ideas and don't want it to be a, what's that term when, an echo chamber.
Yes.
They don't want that.
Right.
And they want to have dialogue and discuss and debate. And that is wonderful. But respecting, like you said, other people's opinions and feelings, that you're, you know, not bulldozing people down. And I think it can be a great platform for people to hear dissenting opinions so they could consider things differently.
Yes.
There's also danger in that too. So, and by the way, many people in the Frum community do specifically warn about social media because they don't want you to have exposure to those different ideas.
Yeah. And I think that it's so interesting that you bring that up because I remember like many years ago, I did really have a lot of those conversations and a lot of conversations, like arguments, I guess. I learned how to argue through social media, I want to say.
It's a certain type of arguing.
100%. But how to do it respectfully and to really articulate your points. And I found it really made me think about why I believe what I believe and how to strengthen how to explain what I believe. So I really found that, but now I have no time or headspace for it.
That's where I'm at right now. Is I don't even want it. I used to love it, but as I said, I think that it's because we had that experience, and it's like maybe I'm not. But I know friends who really enjoy social media for that way. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I do though. I think how I stopped focusing on that is I know we've talked about this. I would tell myself, like, you don't have to always share what you think about something. Like, just because someone posted this and you feel like a little triggered that you need to add in your 2 cents, you don't have to. Yeah. The worlds will continue spinning. Not everyone needs to know everything that's in your minds about whatever random topic that's going on in current events.
I love that. Yeah.
It's just because then you're always will be walking around a triggered person and constantly on your phone because someone then commented on what you said, and now you're getting into an argument with someone.
Because someone is wrong on the internet.
Who needs it? Any other tools that you have found helpful?
No, that's it. Just like taking breaks and like being mindful. There was a time when I like created an entirely separate I took a long break from Facebook for like a year, and I created an entirely like separate user profile on my computer, so I couldn't even access the website.
We are such addicts. I
It's
have a
scary.
friend who just posted that she posted from her laptop that she took Facebook off of her phone.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm a free woman. And people are like, oh yeah, I did that too. It's so liberating. And I'm like, it's so addicting. It's sort of frightening when you see people's visceral responses to how they're feeling when they actually get rid of it off of their devices.
Yeah.
It's pretty frightening. And that's the awareness piece. And that I think if you're done on this piece,
I am.
I'd love to talk about the awareness.
Let's hear it.
Because I think when we understand like the beast, if you will, that we're dealing with, and understand why these platforms were created, I think it's just really helpful to be mindful and be aware of how then we can take the power back and figure out how we're going to use these and not have them use us.
Yes.
Whew. And again, I'm just kudos to those of you who out there who maybe, I don't even if you're still listening, if you're listening at all without social media, I think that's awesome. But as I said, I'm not getting off anytime soon. It's working for me. I just have to try to use it in the best way and healthiest way possible. But for those of you who are on, I think there are wonderful, wonderful ways you can use social media. So we're not here to say that you should feel bad about it.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should feel a little bit bad.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a few things that are going to maybe make us all feel bad. I did finally watch The Social Dilemma, and it's on Netflix. And this was made in 2020. And essentially, this is a documentary where they're interviewing the very people who created these social media networks and designed them. And now they no longer were working in these positions, and they are sharing with us their secrets in terms of, the intentions and the goals of these social media platforms.
Yeah.
And when you hear it from the people who made the technology, it's sort of frightening. It is actually funny because my daughter, who's in a basic Jacob high school, they showed this documentary to the girls. I'm like, this is like
fascinating. Is that how you heard about it? That
that's
your daughter
how I heard about it. My daughter was like, you have to watch this, blah, blah, blah. I think a couple parts were edited. And I'm like, it's one thing for the yeshivish world to rail against social media, but to have a documentary that was created by, as I said, the people behind Twitter.
It. Yeah, exactly.
And to make many of the same points that are often made to discourage social media use is very, very powerful. As I said, you may call me a hypocrite. I'm not going away from social media. This is the work that I do. And as I said, I please God, use it as a positive tool. But you have to know, you have to be aware. So very briefly, there is a fascinating quote that if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. And if you realize all of these platforms are free, because we are the product. The advertisers are, our attention is the product for the advertisers. Oh, and the attention is probably my biggest piece with this. Is I just remember, this sounds so pitiful, but I remember pre-social media days, I really feel like I had more menuchas nefesh in my life.
I believe it.
I feel like it's just
pitiful. It sounds real.
It is. And like the world has changed, and I'm evolving with the world, and I'm embracing this, and I'm trying to use it professionally. But it's screen time, screens are designed this way. And it's not that you are weak if you feel like you are distracted. We are humans with human brains. And this technology is designed to distract us. Right. We are just falling prey to it. Right. If we understand that is how it's designed, I think it helps us be aware.
Combat it.
So combating it, no notifications. I have zero.
Oh, I also do that.
Email, none.
Yes.
When I started, I didn't know that you could turn it off. Can I tell you how many ridiculous pings and little numbers I was getting on my Facebook app that I have 50 messages? What human being ignores that? Our brains do not ignore that. And it's like you are a slave.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this? Who sent this to me?
Yeah.
It's pretty frightening. So that is a really great tool.
I even forgot I had done that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that.
And then you think back to how life was before, before when you had the notifications. It's sort of ridiculous.
Yeah, no. And
and then just like another challenge I would say is, we haven't touched on this, and this is huge in the Instagram culture, but the peer pressure of, well, actually you did touch on it, how you portray yourself on social media is not reflective of reality.
Yeah.
We know this is incredibly dangerous for teens when they're evolving their, their self-image.
Right, if it's hard for us as mature women, how much more so for like teens who are developing?
I mean, I will for sure scroll through Instagram and be like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough clothes. I need some more clothes, or I want that look.
It's accomplishing its goal.
It's accomplishing its goal. There we go.
Yeah.
Another piece which is fascinating. There are from this show, The Social Dilemma, this documentary. There are only 2 industries that call their customers users. Can you guess one of them? Well, one is technology. One is software. Who's a user? What's a user?
I mean, I'm thinking like cigarettes.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
illegal drugs.
Yeah.
Those are users.
Oh, that's interesting that you call it an industry. Yeah. I guess it is.
It is. So that was pretty fascinating. Again, this is the addictive quality of
it is.
We're users. We're using these platforms. And the final piece I just wanted to share is most of this documentary really focused on a lot of interviewing of this guy who is a former design ethicist at Google. Isn't that interesting? Because there are ethics involved, and when you're creating,
like how sneaky can you be?
Well, that way, but also he was ethicist to try to be sensitive to the manipulation piece and what are the ethics involved and all that. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know exactly what he did, but it's pretty cool. But he left, and now he's started this whole organization to promote like healthy technology. But anyway, he said this, and he says, social media isn't a tool waiting to be used. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Social media is a tool. We all say it's a tool. We're all using it, Latove, right? But just keep in mind this perspective. He says social media pursues its goals by using your psychology against you.
Yeah.
And it is by nature manipulative.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the women out there who are on Instagram who are sharing Divrei Torah and who are showing examples how
positive
to be tznius and fashionable and provide positive examples. And that is awesome. And I do believe in the realm of Judaism and Jewish education, social media is being used for very, very good ways. Things, and it is a tool. But we can try to manipulate the system actually in a way. These are their technologies are designed to manipulate us in terms of how we think. What Google? Oh my gosh! And I don't want to go on for too long, but I'll just end with this. If you search something on your Google, okay. The example they gave was climate change.
Yeah.
You know how it gives you options?
Like
pop-ups.
Yeah.
Exactly. That will depend on your internet usage, what you use the internet for, because they know you, and also where you live. So if you're in a more liberal state, you might have responses like what was the example I used? Climate change is bad, or climate change is imminent, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Versus, it's just fascinating. It's all controlled.
That's so.
And it makes sense
because it's like this is something that I have noticed, like I said, like when I started versus now, it's like the level of curation is like, it's becoming so,
and tracking, which is a whole nother story.
Oh my gosh. And everything being connected. It's so creepy. I remember, oh my gosh, it must've been after I gave birth to my 4th kid or my 5th kid. I don't remember. I started getting ads for how to get back to your, and I took a screenshot of it. I was like, bad Instagram or bad Facebook. Yeah. This is not nice. That's really disturbing. And I was okay. I saw it and I was able to but can you imagine somebody who's in a more vulnerable state? It's evil. Anyways, I had strong feelings about that. You reminded me of something that I do also that I had forgotten to mention, which was like, just be really mindful about why am I posting what I'm posting? Like pause for a second. Why am I posting? What is this accomplishing? And I used to really and I think it's because I did very much get caught up in like I want to post what everyone else is posting. I want to jump on that trend. I want to hop on that train. I want to, whatever it is. If people are doing fashion stuff, I'd be interested in that. And as we, or whatever, like as we've established in previous episodes, I am very competitive. So if I do anything, I want to do it the best.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be on Instagram, I want to be the best account. So I'm going to do all the things. And
no, Rivki does not have 50,000 followers.
No, I do not. So I guess I failed at being the best. But no, like it just what am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying?
Takes a lot of honesty.
And this is just where I'm holding, and like this is not meant to make anyone feel bad or a judgment in any way, shape, or form. But where I'm holding right now is I'm just getting off the hamster wheel. Like I'll post the stuff, I'll post for the podcast, and I'll post for promoting whatever I'm writing or whatever. If there's something that I feel like could be beneficial to say, if someone could grow from it or learn from it or just whatever, have a happy feeling, like then I'll post it. But like I'm like getting off the hamster wheel.
It feels good. Who needs that?
And I think the fact that I like wanted to get off the hamster wheel is why I am having success with like having that time where I'm just not looking at my phone. If I shut WhatsApp, if I need to get a hold of someone, I text them. I just text them.
Right.
And it's
versus WhatsApp.
Yes, because when I open WhatsApp, then I see all my messages.
Yeah.
If I'm texting the person, it's one person.
Yeah,
at
that's
a
very
time.
smart.
And I like when you said the Menuchas Nefesh thing, like I feel calmer.
Yeah.
I've gotten more done around my house because I'm just less distracted. My
We
brain
live
is
in
just less cluttered.
We live in a crazy time. There's no question that technology has posed tremendous challenges. There's also a very dark side of technology that we haven't even talked about in terms of exposure.
Oh my gosh, let's not even.
And we're not going there. But
No,
I just
yeah.
want to say, in terms of, the day-to-day, it's something that I'm willing to grapple with.
Yeah.
And that's my approach is
Yeah.
that
I think that's a very beautiful
trying
approach.
to figure it out and trying to use it for good. And everyone
Exactly.
and let's respect everyone for all their social media choices. How little or how much?
Like let's respect that everyone is on their own journey. And it's not our business like what the relationship is, just like with everything, just like with Judaism, just like with everything.
And we could think, oh my gosh, she posts way too much.
We could think
but
that.
You know what? It's not our place to make that known on the internet.
right. Like we could think that, and then we could say like, oh, I'm having a thought. I'm having a judgmental thought about someone else. Looks like I got to work on my tomatoes. And like, yeah. And I feel like you said, like, there's so much to struggle with, but there's so much good. I mean, just look at like, hello, meaningful minute. Hello. What are they like daily giving? Like there's so many accounts for any time. Like, thank you Hashem.
I'm glad you're mentioning this.
So many Rita inspired. I feel bad because now I'm leaving people out and I don't want to, I'm sorry.
But Yiddishkeit is thriving.
So many amazing ways to get chizuk, to have a little connection to Hashem as we are addicted to our devices. But like so that's my So
wow.
I don't know. We covered a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
There's a lot to say, and I'm sure there's plenty we didn't say. If you have any thoughts on this topic, feel free.
Exactly.
We would love to continue the conversation. You can reach out to us on Instagram. Speaking of Facebook, we have active accounts over there, as well as an email address, dmc@meaningfulminute.org.
Yeah, so thanks for listening on our mini DMC.
Have a great day.